Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about eyeshadow palette brands. I'm so interested to share this with you. If you are a beginner in like the indie makeup industry, I'm going to tell you 12 brands to focus on. And these brands just do eyeshadow palettes so beautifully. So if you are ready to dive into the action of the indie brands, especially for eyeshadow palettes, then please keep on watching. Okay, these are like my favorite indie brands to talk about. And you would have seen me use these palettes like over and over again on this channel. So let's begin with the first brand. The first brand that I have to talk about is Drizzle Cosmetics. I have several, actually these are not all that I have like several of the other palettes, but these are like the most used palettes in my collection. Drizzle Trashed palette, beautiful color story. I feel like they do purples and greens a lot in their whole like line. And that's just who they are. Like they just love their oranges, the peaches, the greens and the purples. I never complain of the purples because I just love it. I mean, look at my eyes. I'm actually wearing one of the Drizzle palettes, but this is the Trashed palette. Beautiful, like all shimmer palettes. Then we have Trick Raw Treat palette. I feel like this is my favorite 6-pan eyeshadow palette that I have in my collection. And this is so much versatile. Like it's so pretty. Like it has like 3 multi-chromes, 3 mattes, and that's all that I need. And then the next one is the MILF palette, which is like my favorite, my absolute favorite in their line. Again, it's a mixture of green, teals, and purples and pinks. It's beautiful, like such a pretty palette. Again, this also has like 2 beautiful multi-chromes and rest of them are like duochrome shimmers. Very pretty, very sparkly. You can see on my eyes, like it's like shining. I went overboard totally and I used this palette. This is their newest palette to their collection and this is Don't Forget to Smile palette. And I basically used the shade Square Smile, Moonlit Smile and Run a Smile on my eyes. So where is it? Yeah, this and this on my eyes today. I've already done a video using this palette on my channel and I just used like 2 more mattes from this palette. This is another Drizzle palette. This is an all matte palette. So very unlike the other palettes that we just saw, like all shimmer palettes. This is my favorite purple palette from the indie brands and I love it. I use the shade Raisin Hell and Razzmatazz. So Raisin Hell in the extreme corner and Razzmatazz just to blend everything out. These are the only 2 shades that I used and I love it. The quality is so spectacular and the shimmers are over the top sparkly. There's no glitters at all. If you like to sparkle and shine, Drizzle does palettes at a very reasonable price, I would say, as compared to the other indie brands, and I love it. Now let's talk about the second brand. These are like my favorite brands. So I'm not going to repeat it again and again, but we are talking about Gourmande Girls. Again, I have several other palettes, but these are like my top 3 palettes, I would say. So the first one, Ethereal palette, all shimmer palette. But if you like color and variety, this is the palette for you. Like it has so much of variety for you and all duochrome shimmery shades. Really pretty. Very beautiful on the eyes, I would say. And then if you are more on like that purpley blue color story, Radioactive is really pretty. Look at that. Look at those tones. Superb quality and so shiny. Like you could see the Drizzle on my eyes. I'm going to swatch a few so that you can see the sparkle and the shine from all the brands. I'm just gonna swatch a few. And these are like different qualities. This is more like toppery shade. This is more like unique. And this is like one swipe situation. Like beautiful it is. And then my favorite is the Spooked palette, which is like this. And oh my God. You need to see these shades. And this is like, I feel like the perfect grungy palette, which has like mattes as well as shimmers. So you don't need to dip into another palette to complete your eye look. Look at that. Really beautiful. Let's move on to the next brand. Some of them stain too. Now the next brand that I have to talk about is Wicked Widow Beauty and I absolutely love this palette. I also do have another palette from them. That was their first palette that looks like a shoe. What was that called? Oh my God, that's got the alternative palette. This is my favorite hands down, and this is the Scissor Hands 2 palette. I don't even love greens, but this is so pretty, so pretty. I absolutely freaking love this palette. Oh my god, the dimension, the shine is crazy beautiful. Like, I have to swatch for you. Like, I actually do have a code with Sugar Drizzle, Gourmande Girls, Wicked Widow Beauty. All of them are like Smithy Sony, and you can save like 10% off. Some of them have like stained my hand, so ignore that. Look at the dimension. Oh my god. Are you serious? Oh my god, I'm drooling over here because it's that beautiful. The next brand that I have to talk about, oh my god, they do mattes like no other. If you are into mattes and if you are into colorful tones, you absolutely need the Odens Eye Cosmetics palettes. I only have the primal palette and I am head over heels in love with this palette. I have heard nothing but great things about every palette that they have launched. This was more my vibe, I would say, and I was so excited. I dip into this palette a lot. Like, definitely, like, I love these tones. These are the only ones that's like outside my comfort zone, but I still reach out for this palette a lot. I was very skeptical in trying like black shade, but I use this most of the time, and this black is the one that helped me like fall in love with like deepening shades. Love these palettes. Let me just swatch a few so that you can see. I dipped my finger into this and I do not like it. Oh my god. Okay, if you like matte shades, they just do mattes the best, I feel like. Like, look how smooth and dark and deep it is. Oh my god, if you like deeper shadows, and they are so good with like including everybody in the spectrum, because they do their mattes from like light mattes to like medium tone mattes as well as deeper tone mattes, and they do not compromise on the quality one bit, and that's why I absolutely love Odens Eye Cosmetics. Okay, this video cannot finish without talking about this brand, because I feel like this is the brand that helped me to dip into indie brands, and this is Adept Cosmetics. I initially tried their Break the Rules palette, and this was their first palette, and I didn't even know how a shadow could sparkle and shine like this. It was just so amazing. You can see the pan that is going on, and it's just so beautiful, so amazing. And there are like different tones and textures in the palette. There are like some toppery tones. Some of them are like super like deep dark, like very opaque tones. So let me swatch it for you guys. I mean, my hands are all like stained, so I don't know how much you can see, but you can see like that red is so opaque, but look at that like pinky green shade. It's, oh my god, this is stunning. Like, absolutely stunning. I just love it so very much. And then came the Flare Collection Remix palette, which was their second palette. And this by far, I feel like, is my favorite palette. And you can see like the mess of this palette. That's how much I use it. My favorite shade is definitely Larimar, and this one, which is Citrine. And this night shade, it's so pretty, like a blue to a green shifting shade. And this Morganite shade, I use it all the time, which is like a pink to a golden flipping shade. It's very beautiful, and these palettes are super affordable too, and Adept Cosmetics does a lot of sales on their website too. This is their all matte palette. If you are looking for like a neon palette in your collection, which you do not want to break your bank into, this is the Fruity Realm palette from them, and this is so stunning. This palette is only for $18, and you can use my code SMITHYSONY to save 10% on top of that, and that's like a steal. These blend like a dream, and they're so pretty. And then we have the Cool Summer palette, which has a mix of mattes and shimmers, and these shimmers are like the heroes of this palette. Like, so pretty, so spectacular. And these again have like toppery shades, very opaque shades, and like such beautiful duochrome shades. These are all like duochrome shimmers, and I love it. Absolutely stunning, stunning quality. Okay, now let's talk about Sydney Grace. If you guys know me, you know how much I love my Tiny Marvels palette, which was in collaboration with Mel. And I just use it all the time. And that's because it still stands unique in my collection, even though I have so many palettes in my collection. This just stands out like no other because this is just stunning. And this definitely is like way close to my heart. I just cannot think of like parting from this palette because I just love it. I just love Mel and I just love this creation that was created in collaboration with her. I love it. Let me just swatch a few shades. Before that, let me clean my hands. We are sparkle and shining, but at least the stains have gone away. So let's swatch this. Let's swatch this yellow gold shade. Let's swatch a few mattes because if you know Sydney Grace, you just know how beautiful their mattes, their shimmers, everything is. Like one swipe situation and it is stunning. Like stunning. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know, if your eyes don't pop here, I don't know what will pop your eyes because this is such an amazing formula and this is such a beautiful palette. This is like a labor of love. I'm just in awe with this palette. Okay, now let's talk about Glam Light. Glam Light is another brand. I feel like they do matte shimmers, all of it so beautifully. I have to talk about these three palettes because these are like the most used palettes in my collection and I love these palettes so very much. This is the Michaela 1 palette. Well loved in my collection. You can see those shimmers, those mattes, how much I've used it. It's just very pretty and very sparkly. Really pretty. This, I feel like I'm like a broken record. Like I love this neutral palette and this is the Chocolate Martini palette. It does so much more than you can like think of because these shades are stunning. This is like my favorite shade in the palette. I just love everything that Glam Light creates. And then look at this palette. Again, I don't like greens, but this Dirty Martini palette, wait till you see. Look at that. If you want variety, this gives it to you. It absolutely does give it to you. So I'm going to swatch a few shades so that you can see like the sparkle, the shine, the dimension that this palette gives. Ones on top are Chocolate Martini and the ones in the bottom are Dirty Martini. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my God. I use a Chocolate Martini palette so much in my life. I love that for office looks. I love that for glam looks. If you don't like so much of colors on your eyes, I feel like that Chocolate Martini palette is like awesome, like absolutely awesome quality. I'm so scared that I'll just make this pile of palettes fall on the ground. Okay, let's make another pile. Okay, the next brand that I have to talk about is Odens Eye. Oh my God, these are like my treasure, my gems, but I'll show it to you, but you cannot find it anymore. This is my favorite unique palette in my collection. This is Giant Wolves palette. I feel like the tones are so unique, so deep, so grungy, and I love the mattes as well as the shimmers so very much. If you are like a colorful person, you would have loved the Hummingbird palette because this is so spectacular and the multi-chrome in this palette is, oh my goodness, so beautiful. I cannot wait to see what Odens Eye creates for this year. And this is the Red Dragon palette, which definitely is the most used Odens Eye palette that I have in my collection just because of the tones. There's a very wearable shades, and again, this multi-chrome shade is breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. Love Odens Eye. Okay, now let's talk about Simply Posh Cosmetics. I have two palettes with me. I bought this with my own money and I was gifted this, and oh my God, I just love it so very much. I think it's all mismatched because I actually duped the new Nomad palette, and that's what you will see like in the first half, and these I just like filled it out with the other shades. But also, if you like berry tones, if you like blues, I feel like you would absolutely love the Berry Icy palette. Again, this is a little bit mismatched, so it's not like a good representation of the palette, but actually these tones are all from here. Like these pinks, this shade, these are all from here. Then these blues that you see, that is also from the Berry Icy palette. This this, and this is from the Genuine Gems palette. I'm sorry for the confusion. I'll put it on the screen for you guys how these palettes look in actual life. I love that these are magnetic and I can customize my own palette that I use all the time. And I love that aspect about Simply Posh Cosmetics. The mattes are so blendable, so buildable, so smooth on the eyes, and the shimmers, they're not very emollient. They're like dry when you swatch it, but if you pick it out with a brush and apply it like on top of the glitter glue, it sparkles and shines like no other. I love Simply Posh Cosmetics palettes. They're coming out with like a summer fruit themed palette or something that's next in the line. I cannot wait for the palette reveal. I really cannot. Let's talk about Ladybug Glow Cosmetics. I have all the palettes that they have been launching and I love their quality. I absolutely love their quality. This is their first palette, Ladybug Glow. I also have a backup of this palette. That's how much I love it. And I use these multi-chrome so very much. Like, I just love these tones. If you are a colorful lover and if you are on a budget, I feel like this is such a great palette to have. You will definitely not be disappointed with the formula because this is stunning quality. The second palette that they came out with, or the palette that I have, is Murky Waters. And this is such an awesome palette. If you are like a green and a blue wearer, this is stunning to another level. Like, they have some beautiful duochromes and mattes in their collection, and the quality, they do not compromise on the quality, and that's what I love about Ladybug Glow. I really love them. And the newest palette in the collection is called Galaxia Magica palette. Look at this beauty, how beautiful it is. And do not be fooled, like when I saw this palette, I felt like this is all over the place and there's so much of color to it. When I swatched it, you should see the swatches, how dimensional, how pretty, how beautiful this is. Like, I love this palette. I'll mark a few videos in the eye cards above for you guys to check it out so that you can check these videos out. But otherwise, just give it a search, type Smithy Sony, and you'll find all my reviews, all the looks that I created using these palettes. Two more brands to go. The second last brand that I have to talk about is Adept Cosmetics, and I have these three palettes that I use the most. This is Amore Mariposa palette, which is like a jewel tone lover's dream. If you like jewel tones and if you like purples and greens, this is the palette for you. They have some beautiful rusty tones, purpley tones, green tones, and these it's just so beautiful. Like, the quality is stunning for these shadows. I just love it so very much. Let me swatch a few shades, but this is like for the jewel tone heart wearer. Look at that. But if you like grungy tones and neutrals at the same time, Gemini 1 would be like your best friend. I love this palette. Again, I'm not a big green person, but this palette is so beautiful and so wonderful. Like, you need to see this. It's grungy, beautiful at the same time. They just do their mattes so wonderfully. I feel like Melt Cosmetics does their mattes the best. But talking about Melt, my favorite palette from Melt is the Gemini 2 palette. I just love this baby. I'm a big pinky person. Like, pinky browns are like my tones. These are grunginess and pinkiness to another level. I wear this so very often. Definitely the most used Melt palette in my collection is the Gemini 2 palette, and I love it. I love it very much. And last, certainly not the least, the brand that I have to talk about and definitely is like truly the most special brand, I would say, is Adept Cosmetics. I have Minka palette as well as Heather Austin palette, and I just love them so very much. I cannot wait for their next release, the Seahorse palette. Look at Minka. They do multi-chrome sparkly shades like no other. Your eyes will pop. It's glam to another level, and people would definitely stop you and ask, like, what is on your eyes? And this is none other than the Heather Austin palette. Oh my God, I'm so happy that I got this. I'm so happy because I definitely would have missed this. If I did not have it in my collection, I know that I would regret not buying this. The same way I regret the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette for not buying it. Like, I cannot blame myself enough for not buying that because I love it so very much. So those were the most unique and the most special indie brands in my collection, that if you are looking to try out an indie brand, check out any of these brands that I talked about and you will not be disappointed. That's my guarantee. But that's all for today, guys. I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys. If you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.